guys, I'm back. I'm back. Alrighty, so whew, that's a problem. Why am I like out of breath right now? Okay, so today we're just going to, like I said, alright, I didn't say anything, but I just shot a video before this, so I did just say. But yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but I hate intros more than like editing. I hate filming intros more than I hate editing. I feel like I'm way more fake in my intro than like ever in fucking life, and I hate it. So we're just gonna skip it and jump right into the story time, and you see the title. So my name is Tabby, if you don't already know me, and let's just jump right into this. So you guys already saw in the title, we're doing a story time about the time that a friend of mine thought it would be cute to date someone I dated before. And this wasn't just any old friend. This was a childhood friend that I grew up with, and like I said, childhood friend from very, very, very young. So it wasn't just someone, you know, not just some random friend that I'm just talking about here. This was an actual friend that I had an actual friendship with. And as for the guy, no, I did not have an actual relationship with this guy, but she knew the seriousness of my feelings for this guy, and she definitely knew every single detail about every single inch and part of that relationship with that guy. So there was never a time where she can say I didn't know or anything. So let's just clear that up right now and jump right into it. So it was a time where I was working at the store for a really long time. And when I say a long time, I mean a long time. And yeah, so I was working at the store for a long time, and that's where I met, we're gonna call him John. So that's where I met John, and I knew John for a little while before I even thought I liked him. And at first, me and him were just kind of cool. We were friends. I had never thought anything of him, and then I kind of just started to spend more time with him, got to know him a little bit more, and I liked John. I didn't like John, but I thought he was super cute. John was fucking attractive. So yeah, I thought John was super attractive, and I liked him, and that was something I always told this friend. What are we gonna call this friend? Let's call her Lisa. So this was something I always told Lisa. I have this crush on John, I have this crush on John, I have this crush on John, and oh my god, this is what happened with John today. Like, John was that small crush at first that like, oh my god, I saw John today, and he worked from this time to this time, and I ran into him when I was walking into the warehouse, and he said this to me, and I said this to him, and he tickled me, and like little shit like that. Like, she knew all those little details, so I would always come back home to her and tell her these little details. I got goosebumps because I'm fucking freezing. So like I said, I would always tell her these small little details about this crush that I had on John. And mind you, this was like months of like me telling her all this stupid bullshit about John, because like I told you, it was just a crush. So time goes by, and she ends up needing a job, and it ends up being the seasonal time where everyone is hiring. So I asked my manager if they were hiring, and he said yeah. So at this time, me and John were like already texting back and forth kind of, and just flirting back and forth. And it wasn't anything crazy. Like I told you, we were just flirting back and forth through text and stuff. And when we would see each other, it was like flirting, but it was nothing serious. So like I told you, seasonal time, asked my manager if they were hiring, and he told me, yeah, bring her in. And she ended up getting hired as a seasonal worker. So John ended up having a best friend who he ended up bringing in for the seasonal job, and they both got hired. So they were in the same hiring class, my best friend and John's best friend. So they ended up meeting each other and spending some time together in like orientation and stuff like that. So they knew each other, and yeah, so they just kind of knew each other. And my best friend Lisa, she was very, very attractive, and she had a very nice body. So as soon as people met her, of course, we always knew they were immediately gonna try to talk to her. So as soon as she met John's best friend, the fact that I'm flirting with John, and not everybody knows this, but this group of 4 people, we all know that. And yeah, so we immediately knew that John's best friend was gonna try to talk to Lisa. So, which she did. So time passes and they're both hired or whatever, but we're like all in completely different departments and all separated. So John's best friend was very persistent, like extremely persistent when it came to trying to talk to Lisa. Always texting her, always asking her to take her out on dates, always, 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 always. Like, he would not give up. So finally one day she gave in and she said yes to go out with John's best friend. And that was it. From there, they became a real thing. She ended up really liking him. They ended up really dating, and that became like a real relationship for a couple months, like a good long while. And me and John just kept like flirting and talking and things like that. And it was never, like I told you, me and John were never a real thing. So it was just kind of like my feelings for him were just kind of growing by the day, I guess you can say. But John would play one. We ended up finding out that he had a long time girlfriend, but we found this out way later. And he was just playing a lot of mind games, even when we knew he didn't have a girlfriend. Like, he was just playing a lot of mind games. So me and him were never like a real thing like they were. So she ended up dating John's best friend for like a really long time until they ended up breaking up. And that was that. And then even after her and John broke up, John's best friend broke up, me and John were still kind of talking and flirting. And she would even like, there was times where me and John would like kind of argue or not be cool with each other, and she would like, you know, be in the middle. And she was very into our whatever it is we had, relationship, friendship that me and John had. She was very aware. That's the point I'm trying to make. She was very aware of the situation me and John had. And again, I've known this girl since I was a very little girl. I don't mean little girl like, oh, we went to middle school together. No, before that, like, we were very young when we first met. So this was my childhood best friend, like, very young. So this wasn't just any old friend. And no matter if I was talking to him for a week or a year, and at this point it was like a year of me and John just back and forth flirting. And no, like I told you, we were never a thing, but that was my thing. So then that was it really for that whole situation there. And she would always and even after, okay, let's just rewind to when she was still with John's best friend, and John would always like try to help them out with their relationship stuff. And again, John and his best friend were also best friends from like when they were younger, like little. So it was kind of the same thing. So John would always help Lisa out with his best friend when they came to arguing and issues and blah blah blah. And yeah, they had like that kind of relationship. And even when it came to me and John, she was like very involved, and she would talk to him about things like that. And she would always work on certain days when I'm not there. So she had a separate relationship with John on her own. So of course she's my best friend, I'm never gonna think anything like that. So I didn't mind that relationship that she had with John, and I never thought anything of it, and it never bothered me. So that was that, really. And we ended up not working there anymore, and we moved on with our lives. And me and Lisa ended up kind of like drifting apart. We ended up working together at a different place after that, and like again, we were friends from when we were little, so we always drifted apart, came back, drifted apart, came back. So it was never like anything serious that ended our friendship. So we hadn't seen each other for a little while, and growing up it was always 4 of us, ever since like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, and there was always 4 of us. So me and another one of my best friends ended up hanging out one day. So one day we were drinking, vibing, and things like that, and I don't remember what we were talking about or why, but I said, oh yeah, that was the time where I was talking to John. And she said, no, Lisa was talking to John. I said, no, I was. And she said, no, I remember very clearly Lisa was talking to John. And I'm sitting here arguing with her, trying to explain to her the story, and she said, no, I remember that part. I remember his best friend too. No, she was talking to John. And then she went on to tell me that she thought I knew, and she thought Lisa had once confessed it to me, and Lisa did not. Let me tell you right now, Lisa did not feel the need to confess something like that to me. And that was the time that I found out that my best friend felt it was cute to date someone I dated. And not only did I date him, but you dated his best friend for months. Yeah, that was it. So I hope you enjoyed my story time. And I love you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.